Hello. Today we'll be looking at perspective and bias as it relates to fiction, specifically characterization. You've been reading a text. Today we have an excerpt from The Most Dangerous Game. You have a couple of tasks. One, as you read, you will annotate for dialogue or statements made by the character or the author, details, and tone. After you're done annotating, you will look at this chart. You will put your text evidence here, and you will explain what you learn about the speaker from that text evidence. So we're going to go and look at the first paragraph. The general filled both glasses and said, God makes some men poets. Some he makes kings. Some beggars. Me? He made a hunter. My hand was made for the trigger, my father said. He was a very rich man with 250,000 acres in the Crimea, and he was an ardent sportsman. When I was only 5 years old, he gave me a little gun, specially made in Moscow for me, to shoot sparrows with. When I shot some of his prize turkeys with it, he did not punish me. He complimented me on my marksmanship. I killed my first bear in the Caucasus when I was 10. My whole life has been one prolonged hunt. I went into the army. It was expected of noblemen's sons, and for a time commanded a division of Cossack cavalry. But my real interest was always the hunt. I have hunted every kind of game in every land. It would be impossible for me to tell you how many animals I have killed. Now we're going to take this paragraph, and I'm going to model for you what you need to do. So what you should have noticed is that in line 4, me, he made a hunter. I'm going to highlight that yellow because that speaks to the perspective Zaroff has about himself. The next thing I want to highlight is this sentence 6. When I was only 5 years old, he gave me a little gun, specially made in Moscow for me to shoot sparrows with. The last thing I want to highlight in this paragraph is the rest of the rest of this sentence right here, because this speaks a great deal about our character. Now, I'm going to leave the rest of the reading to you, so you'll pause now, finish annotating this first paragraph, along with the rest of this excerpt. When you've done that, come back to the video, and I'll walk you through how to begin the chart. All right. At this point, you've read your excerpt, or reread your excerpt, and you're going to take one of these pieces of text evidence. I will be using this particular excerpt. I'm just going to copy and paste it down here. So what that reveals, this reveals that Zaroff was taught it was acceptable to kill things others valued. That speaks quite a bit to his perspective and what happens later in the story. You will continue this process with the rest of this excerpt, finding statements, details, pieces of text evidence that deal with tone, and you'll complete your chart. When you're done, save it and turn it into your teacher.